So we're getting a little closer to the halfway point of the season. Just where have the Spurs improved?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken Spy of San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back, and happy Thursday, everybody. Thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things silver and black. And we just appreciate y'all. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs, like on the YouTube page, iTunes, Spotify, and of course the Ken Spy Plus app. Subscribe to the Locked On Spurs newsletter. It's in the description below on the YouTube side of things. Very easy to see. It literally says LO Spurs newsletter. Click on that link. It's completely free. It's a nice little extra added bonus for you from us to you guys here at Locked On Spurs. What are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at where have the Spurs improved. We're getting closer to the halfway point. So we have more than enough sample size to see where this team is trending in the right way. So what are some areas on the court, maybe some intangibles, where the Spurs have shown tremendous growth or just some growth from last year? Remember that 22 win season? Yeah. So we're going to see where they made the best steps forward. And then, of course, talk about you guys, the Locked On Spurs fans. You guys leaving comments. Keep them coming. We definitely appreciate it. Hey, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. You want to go to FanDuel.com to get started. So, yeah, we're inching closer to the halfway point of the season. And like I said earlier, we got more than enough sample size now. We can see what this team is. Right now, they're trending to be a 500 team when it's all said and done. But considering this is still a rebuild, we want to see progress, right? You want to see progress. Our guests want to see progress. I want to see progress. So where have they taken the steps? Is it on the defensive side? Is it something else? Is it just a mindset? Let's talk about that. Let's go to bring in our guest. He is Vinnie Vinzetta. There's the Vin Dog. Welcome back, Vinnie. We missed you here at Locked On Spurs.
It's been a while. Schedules collide, and sometimes they collide for the better. So good to be back with you, good sir.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. And by the way, cool sweatshirt, man. Tops. We love basketball cards here at Locked On Spurs as well.
So I've been working on this story on Wemby Sports Card Mania, and I was at one of our local shops here in San Antonio. And when we finished working the story, one of his employees had one of these on, and I said, you know what? I want one of those, Charlie. And he said, oh, let me check in the back, and came through for me. I did pay for it. I think he wanted to donate it to me, but I said, no, I'm going to do the right thing here. So I paid for it. But yes, I love my new Tops pullover here.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and yeah. Check out Vinny when the store drops. Oh, sorry, story drops, I should say. See, I'm thinking of stores. I'm really thinking about going to the store right now, looking at some cards. But you want to follow him on X at VVinzetta. You see it on your screen over at the YouTube side of things. Hey, so Vinny, why are you here? Well, we're going to be looking at why the Spurs, or where the Spurs have improved. Now, the bar's set low. 22 win season. They're getting clubbed over the head left and right last season. 18 game losing skid. Sure, the bar is low, but this is a rebuild still. You got Wemby, yay Spurs, but we got to see progress. So we're going to try to focus on that right now. And you are the guest. You get first crack at this. Where do you see from the Spurs, defensively, offensively, something else, where you're like, you know what? This team is making progress. They're rebuilding. They're treading the right way.
So can I give you sort of a philosophical answer here? I just think that they believe finally they're better. Like they know we're not going to be 22-60, and we're not going to have an 18-game losing streak. And, you know, those days are clearly behind us. So I see a team that now believes they can outscore opponents, and they can win fourth quarters, and they can play better defense. And I also think that while clearly, obviously, Wemby is the number one go-to, and then Devin looks to be a clear two, they know they have other people that they can count on, like the young Stephon Castle and, you know, a Keldon Johnson and a Harrison Barnes. So I think they understand that they have better options on this club. So just the idea that we're doing everything better, I think, goes a long way. And look, clearly there's a difference between regular season NBA basketball and playoff basketball. But if we're going to talk baby steps and rebuild and all the things that go along with it, I just feel like they understand that things are much better. And you know what? Let me add this. They were thrown a rough curveball this year with the situation involving Coach Pop. So how is a team going to react to that? I would say overall that there's been some stumbles here and there, but overall, I think they've reacted fairly well to A, Mitch Johnson in the interim role, and B, just dealing with the emotions of not having arguably the greatest coach of all time not out there with them right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. That was on one of my top 10 lists of where they've improved, and that is just the mentality. You're looking at just, I guess kind of in the same vein of that, what happened recently against the Lakers. They were in the fight, at least for 3-ish quarters. And then they saw that team kind of fold and whether they imposed their will, and they beat LeBron James, Anthony Davis in their gym. That was a good example of them knowing they are a good team. They're a better team. Mitch Johnson even said it after the game. Said, sure, we were down on the scoreboard for a chunk of the game, but we knew we were a better team than that. You even look at Wemby. When they lost, I believe, to the Milwaukee Bucks, what did he say? They were the better team, the Bucks. To me, that implies that, if the Spurs were firing all cylinders, they could contend and be in the fight with Milwaukee. So I like that mentality. Yeah, they got a lot more will to win. I think last year you saw them get really deflated at times, 18-game losing skid, getting thumped, left and right. And I think that took a toll on them. They got some early success this season, and I think they liked it. And I know they liked it. You can see it in their eyes. You hear them in the locker room post-game just cheering up a storm there. Keldon leading the charge, yelling. So they're enjoying the winning, and I think that's a good mentality. And credit Mitch Johnson, for him to, be thrusted into the position. Pretty much, I don't know if you realize that he's taken over the shoes of Popovich. And to really keep this team firing on all cylinders, kudos to him. And I think that's infectious on that. What about this, Vinny? You're hearing the S word a lot, soft. Do you think this team is soft? And they pointed that out versus the Milwaukee Bucks when they were just getting shoved around. Chicago Bulls when they blew that lead and lost to Chicago. You start, they're soft, Wemby soft. I personally don't think this team is a soft team. What do you think?
I think it's all part of the learning process. I mean, so I understand why the word occasionally is tossed around, but I don't believe they're soft. They talk so much about the process, not to steal the word from Joel Embiid, but they talked about being better and better, and there's going to be steps and baby steps and bigger steps eventually. So, no, I wouldn't say soft, but I think each time that maybe that moniker gets thrown out or they're labeled that, it's another learning lesson about who they are eventually going to be. I mean, they're on their way. Like the season of last year, none of that nonsense is happening again. It's not happening anymore, and that to me is a major step. So soft, I mean, maybe they get pushed around here and there, but I just think you're continuing to see incremental progress with each passing game. They're going to win some, they're going to lose some. It's where we are right now.
Yeah, they are. And I put this guy on the screen here. There, I don't associate the name Chris Paul and soft together. I don't know at all. So that's where I don't think this team is soft whatsoever. You got Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes. I don't think Wemby's soft, although I think that's just something the opposing defenders just throw in his face, trash talking. But he's definitely not a soft guy. So I don't think I think this is still just the growing pains of a team looking to come out of their rebuild. So you're right. The mentality is there. They want to win, and you can see it. Look, they're going to be tested as of this recording, and then, of course, the next day against Memphis. That's a big boy team right there. Really good defenders. They'll rest their mettle. And it's interesting, though. You see Vegas knows all. Heading into that game versus Memphis yesterday night, Memphis only favored by 3 points. So that tells me that Vegas would see this is a Spurs team that you cannot just roll out 5 guys and you'll likely win like last year. This is a team that's going to fight back. And I was looking,
for example, the game cast before the Laker game. The Spurs had the matchup advantage by several percentage point numbers in that game. So we no longer see a game cast or a matchup where it's like 80-20. That's not happening anymore. It's more like 50-50 or the Spurs are favored in that category. So that's another example of how far they have come. And I want to add to CP3, Couldn't agree more, man. That guy looks angry when it's not going well. They learn a lot of toughness factor from Chris Paul. No doubt about it at all. I love having him here. Like,
me too.
He's the perfect guy to toughen up this team. No doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly. And he even blasted the team a couple of times. And I think some Spurs do need a swift kick in the butt. Sometimes, what better person to do that with Chris Paul? He called them out. He literally said, "You basically, we're going to get tired of this, or they're going to get tired of this. That means losing." And then he didn't use the soft word, but he got close to it. He said, "This team needs to learn more grit." So when you have a veteran, the point guard, calling this team out, that is good. So Vinny went philosophical, right? He said, the will to win, the look in the eye of the tiger, this team can win. But what do the numbers show? Where are we seeing statistically where the Spurs have improved? Let's talk about that when we come back right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta. Follow him on X at VVinzetta, and you want to do that right now. But first, let's talk about FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, so many ways to bet, keeps the game, every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. So whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. You want to go there right now. You want to go visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. When I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. And let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, fit, comfort, or just finding the right style for me. Skims changed all of that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried the Skims. Well, they got the 5-inch, the Stretch 5 boxer brief, and let me tell you, those come in handy. As you know, I work out a lot, nearly 5 days a week. They give me all the movement I need for working out, plus without feeling like I'm walking around wearing gym clothes the rest of the day. Plus, they never lose their shape or ride up, and maybe it's just my head, but I swear, since I started wearing these, my gains have improved too. You want to go to skims.com/LockedOnNBA right now and then go to the Skims store. So shop Skims Men, once again, at skims.com/LockedOnNBA. And let me tell you, you let them know that we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menus that follows.
As the new leader of the Decepticons, I command you to subscribe to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Vinnie Vinzetta, my colleague at Kens5. Follow him on X at VVinzetta. You see it on your screen. If you're on the YouTube side of things, follow him right now. What are we talking about? We're looking at growth. Where have the Spurs have grown from last year to this year? Because technically they're still in the rebuild. They're not in the weeds yet. They're not. They're getting there, but where are we seeing it? So in the first segment, Vinny said, the mentality, the philosophy, the look in their eye, this team that they know they can contend and compete and win on the court. But what do the numbers show? Vinny, let's go in to satisfy the stat heads' appetite here. So again, keep in mind though, this is not a complete full season yet, when we compare last year's team to this year's team. Rosters shifted and whatnot. But if we're looking for growth, Vinny, first thing right away is some defensive numbers. They're rebounding a little bit better now, thanks to Wembanyama. But nevertheless, you're seeing close to 2-point, uptick in rebounding. So last year, 44, this year, 46. So you're seeing that trending the right way. Other defensive numbers too. Blocks, again, thanks for Wemby, but even Charles Bassey gets in the mix too. 6 rebounds last season. This year, close to 6.8. And this is a big one for me, turnovers. This team is one of the better teams that doesn't really commit a lot of turnovers if we're going to use the averages. Last year, they were having around 15 turnovers a game. This year, they're down 1 to 14. So that shows a lot of value. And speaking of turnovers, I think this is something that doesn't get highlighted enough. Young Step Castle, if you look at his numbers and his turnover average, it's very low. I think it's not even 2. It's like 1.7. Something very, very, so he definitely values the ball. So you're looking at a lot of defensive numbers. They've gotten better. And of course, I think this season, that's where the Spurs bread and butter is going to come from, is the defensive side. Vinny, I looked at the 3-game losing streak, the recent one they had. Their offensive rating like plummeted. They were like down in that 3-game losing skid. They were like on the 20th area for the NBA, but their defensive net rating, it was still holding strong in the middle of the pack, like around 11, 12, around there, holding teams about 110, 112. So even when they were losing, their defense was still just a bit enough just to keep them at least in games and try to make things interesting even during that losing streak. So, Vinny, if we're going to look at numbers, the biggest jump so far is just defense. Dare I say, Vinny, this could be their identity? We already talked about that. You think this year's team's identity is defense?
Well, just because of the 7'5" guy, without question. You've got quite a rim protector right there. But remember, God bless him, love the guy. But remember during the DeMar DeRozan years when they consistently lost games by 30? That doesn't happen anymore. So I can't disagree with that. I think that there's some defense they can hang their hat on. Like, they have guys on this team that understand their commitment to the team needs to be on the defensive end of the floor. So, yeah, I mean, that's an area that is so much better. And with that, the offense comes. So I think that that's something that comes from the top, from Coach Pop, and I think that's something that Mitch Johnson will embrace. Is there has to be commitment on that end of the floor, and it's been great to see flashes of that. And that's, to me, that signals a lot of progress in and of itself.
Yeah, and obviously there's numbers on this, but you took it out of my bag right now when you're saying they're not getting clubbed over the head left and right, as we saw last year. So that's good. They're being competitive. And again, the numbers show that. If I look at this first team also, and I'm looking for other areas of improvement, I'm actually looking at this is a team that I don't want to go this far by saying puts the fear in the opposition, but I think it makes the opposition think twice. I think this is a team, yes, Wemby is going to make opposing players think 4 times, 5 times if they want to dare go at him. But you cannot go out there and say, what do you got there? It's Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson is so handout. We got this. This is a team that is going to put up some fight. Look what happened to the Lakers, after the loss to the Spurs. I mean, they got clubbed like 25 points, something like that at the end of the day. You even had the talking heads on ESPN just roasting the Lakers for losing to the Spurs. And one of the things they brought up was you took them lightly. This is a team, I think that's another big area, is a team that cannot be taken lightly. Vinny, your thoughts?
That's what I see turning is the idea that the Spurs are a pushover. That's gone too. Like, they are a team that should be a little more of a threat now. And they're a team that can run with the best of the best. So I think we're also comfortable and used to the idea that, it's the Spurs are going to get blown out again. No, I sense that from, like you say, broadcasters, from fans, from things I see on social media. They're starting to be a little more of an aggressor and a team that can go in on the road and win games. So yes, I see them shaking that idea that they're just going to stand in the way and it's going to be a practice game for another team. That's not happening anymore at all. And so they're a team that can, if they put it together, can win most nights. I mean, they have a chance. They have a chance now, whereas the last 2 years didn't have a shot. They do have a chance now. They're not playing for the lottery pick anymore. They got a shot.
Yeah. So some quick updated numbers. And keep this in mind, this is recorded before yesterday's game versus Memphis. They're 16th in the NBA out of 30 in points per game at 111.7. So their offense is really kind of middle of the pack. But then you see opponent numbers here. They hold teams to about 111.5, good for 13. All right, so there's a little close. But then you jump to the offensive rating and the defensive rating. Offensively, they're still, again, like kind of out of the middle of the pack, but not bare at the bottom. 18th out of 30 teams at 112.5. But defensive rating, they jump into the top 5. It's just top half of the league, 12 out of 30 at 112.4. So There you go, stat heads. Some numbers there for you. That defense seems to be their calling card so far this season. One other thing, too, I think one of the biggest improvements from last year is, something they should have done even last year, Vinny, veteran presence. They got that now. And you're seeing it pay dividends with Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes was doing damage to the paint. Yes, I said that. Against the Lakers in the paint with Anthony Davis, it was Harrison Barnes. Chris Paul just been playing lights out. He's having a renaissance in San Antonio. He might be one of the clutchest players the Spurs have on the roster. So adding that veteran presence is paying dividends this season. Vinny, your thoughts?
They've meant everything, Jeff, and I think that's the one thing we might look back on and say, whoever it would have been, but in this case, CP3 and Harrison Barnes, we might look back on those acquisitions and say that's what helped push this young club over the top and give them that toughness and that idea of what it means to play 4 quarters of basketball and be in the mix and have an opportunity to play beyond the regular season. Love those 2 acquisitions. And I will say, as well as we all knew that Chris Paul was going to play, obviously first ballot Hall of Famer, Harrison Barnes, and I think you mentioned it, he's been so good. He played so well. He's had some great shooting nights, and nobody shoots the lights out every game, but I've been highly impressed with just his willingness to score and to not play second fiddle at times and just to be a veteran leader out there. I'm thoroughly impressed with I didn't expect Harrison Barnes to be as good as he's been. He's been great in my estimation.
I'm right there with you. Good guy to talk to with the media, good guy on the court, just has been an impact player. Maybe he doesn't light it up every single night, but he always does something good when he's out on the court, whether that's shaking the guys up and saying, hey, get with it, or even doing little things, rebounding, pushing the break. You see he always brings some sort of positive impact. May not be in points, may not be in rebounds, but he'll do something great. Yeah, so I think obviously that's probably one of the bigger improvements that this team has seen from last year. There is just this season, it's just injection of veteran presence. All right, we're done talking to you. Oh, go ahead.
If you watch close, maybe before they go to commercial breaks on the broadcast or come back from a break, or if you're at the game, if you watch close, it's amazing to see how much in-game coaching both Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes. I love seeing that because those guys want this young team to be really good, and they know they're not going to be here forever. But I just love seeing them help those young guys. It's great to see.
Yeah, and before we go to break right now, that reminds me, I did talk to Harrison Barnes about I would say confrontation, but a chat that he had with Keldon Johnson. It was early in the season, and the Spurs were running away with the game, and KJ, your longest tenure Spur, was on a fast break, and it was just seconds left on the clock, and he goes up for a dunk, hangs on the rim, starts shaking the rim, kicking his leg out. He didn't get a technical, so he comes back down, screaming and yelling as KJ does. Game clock winds down, game over, Spurs win. So instead of exiting the court, Harrison Barnes takes Keldon Johnson mid-court and is having a chat with him. So then I followed up with that in the post-conference and said, hey, so what was that about, Harrison? And he flat out told me, he goes, I had to tell Keldon, you can't do that. Doesn't matter what the score is. You can't be hanging on that rim, shaking it, giving that opposing team any little advantage. Even though the game's over, that just extra fuel to the next. And he even said, he goes, I even talked to him about that in practice because he does that. So you're seeing that type of impact that Harrison Barnes brings to this young team, that know-how, that knowledge. And yeah, even to a long tenured Spur like Keldon, sometimes it needs a little reinforcement to tell these young guys you don't want to give the opposing team any advantage. So Harrison, with a good teaching moment for KJ. All right, we're done talking. We want to hear from you. What do you think about the Spurs and where have they improved this season? Is there a stat we missed? Is there an intangible that maybe Vinny didn't hit on? You can let us know by following Locked On Spurs on the YouTube page and on Ken's Pride Plus app. And you can let Vinny know your thoughts on X at @BVinzetta. All right, when we get back, it's you guys. What are y'all talking about over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page? Let's discuss that in just a few seconds. But first, I want to talk to you about Robinhood.
With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up today at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC.
This is Emilio Rivera, El Padrino for the Mayans MC. You are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
We're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Ken Spy's very own Vinnie Vinzetta. Follow him on X at BVinzetta. Rocking the Tops sweatshirt there, making me want to go to the card show soon. Vinny, by the way, you mentioned about your feature on Wibby and trading cards. Any idea when that might come out?
Going to take me a few days, but I'll keep everybody on Twitter. But it's man, it's cool to see how much stuff is out there, and even beyond cards, Jeff, just the memorabilia that's out there with Victor right now. Signed pictures, framed pictures. I saw 3 basketballs lined up in a row, and he signed them all 3 differently. He signed one the Alien, he signed the other Rookie of the Year, and he signed the other one #1 draft pick. So it's really cool to see all that he does. Now, yeah, I think he's got that exclusive deal with like Fanatics. That's all he can sign with, but they do have a lot of stuff still signed by him.
No, they do. And if you want to see that feature from Vinny, make sure to follow him on X at VVinzetta. So do that right now. All right, it's you guys. What are y'all talking about over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page? Let's talk about Castle. So let's jump into that. Vinny, the first one is from, let's see, here we go. There it is from Mari Goldblatt 8982. So I think we're going to flip tables on this comment here, Vinny. Starting lineup should be Castle instead of Paul. Paul sucks. That's it. That's the comment there, Vinny. I don't know if Paul sucks, Mari. He is called the point guard for a reason. And Vinny, let's react to that. Yeah, I don't think you would, first of all, bench Chris Paul, Hall of Fame bound player for a rookie. And then 2, still Chris Paul. He's the guy who's going to steady the ship from the start and likely to the end of the game. Vinny, your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if that listener, that viewer had a bad spot of beef or something, but I'm not trying to laugh at the guy. I mean, look, the young kid, I love his explosiveness and the way he can attack the rim and his aggressiveness and just the anger and the bullish attitude he plays with. Love the guy, great draft pick. But no, if we're talking about starting in place of Chris Paul, that's a simple no. Not yet.
Yeah, not gonna happen. No. And I appreciate the I guess the moxie you got there, Maury, but likely that's not gonna happen. And look, if anything, how about this, Maury? And I'm leaving Steph Castle's photo there for a reason. You see that guy on your screen there, Maury? That guy is like going to take everything he learned from CP3 and apply it next year if CP3 is not here. Eventually, all those lessons that CP3 is giving him is going to pay off. Hey, Vinny, ask SGA, right, out there in OKC. He'll probably testify that, yeah, Chris Paul just
won myself. You're spot on with that comment. Yep, agree.
Yeah. All right, let's move on now to the next comment here. This is from Jay Perez 889. He says, quote, the Spurs should follow the OKC formula and pile up two-way players, end quote. So there you have it. Thank you, Jay Perez, for that comment. That's an interesting thing, because they're always talking about blueprints. What's a great modern-day blueprint for a rebuild? Many point to OKC, some point to Orlando. But with OKC, they definitely stockpiled on picks, just like the Spurs are doing right now, and they cashed them in from, the Williams kid to Chet Holmgren and so forth. But just to pile up on two-way players, I don't know about that, Perez. I think I don't know, because you still need your shooters. You need your guys who are going to spread the floor. The Spurs definitely needs a backup big for Wemby. No knock on Bassie or Sohan at times or Zach Collins, but they need a better big behind him. So stockpiling up on two-way players, no. You bring him in to sprinkle him in a little bit more, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, they do say, Vinny, this era of NBA basketball is positionless. What do you think?
I can see how there's an argument for it, but I'm also really okay with the blueprint they're using to build this program. And of course, don't forget, Sam Presti, the GM in Oklahoma City, was built through the Spurs way.
Oh.
So I don't know if the two franchises are building too terribly much different, but I like what's going on. I like what's going on here because there will be a day when this is the West Finals matchup that we're going to see more often than not. Oklahoma City versus San Antonio. At least I hope so. That's the West Finals matchup we see. So I'm going to say no too on stockpiling two-way guys. I like what's building now, and remember too, the Spurs have so much cash and so much draft stock to continue to work with. I'm going to trust Brian Wright, and his gambles have worked out in his favor. But I also like the work they're doing as far as draft analysis and understanding the free classes each summer.
Yeah, and I can see why fans would want to duplicate that with OKC's doing. I mean, look at them; they're just running away with the West right now. I mean, I think it's just OKC, then it's Houston. It's really that much of a gap now. So you're saying if that works there, let's try it here in San Antonio. But as we heard and seen and watched from Brian Wright to Popovich, they're going to take their time, Vinny. They made it very clear. This is not going to be a fast rebuild. Your thoughts?
I agree with that. I was just talking to a friend today. He's like, how far away do you think it is until the Spurs are back in the finals? And I said, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say the 3 to 5 year plan. That seems to be the most common thought. But this league, Jeff, is about injuries and it's about chemistry. And so, is San Antonio ahead of schedule? I don't know. I mean, I think they're probably right on schedule for what they're trying to get done. So if they did make a leap and make a deeper run this year than not anticipated, then that's just gravy. But it's interesting. I like what you said there. I was looking earlier. You look at the West standings. Mm-hmm. After Oklahoma City, there's not a whole lot of games that separate 2 from 10. So, say for example, on the day of this recording of this podcast, the Spurs are in 10th. That's like 5 games out of second. So,
yeah,
that's how close the West is right now. So everybody keep that in mind. I mean, they're down there, but they're actually not that far away.
No, they're not. And you get some surprise teams that are struggling, like Denver. At least record wise, they're like, what happened to these guys? So the Spurs could take advantage of some rough starts to certain teams out west, from Dallas to Denver. But again, it's really Phoenix. Thank you. Lakers, I guess. But
after the All-Star break, they're good. There could be some teams that turn it on, like you say. So
yeah, Denver. I can see Denver would be one of the flipping the switch. It's time to play basketball. All right, let's rock and roll. I can see one of them. But yeah, Spurs are definitely. They may have a 500 record as of this recording, but they're still in the thick of things as far as the West, whether it be the play-in or playoffs. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing a little bit too much there. We shall see how the season plays out. Thank you guys for leaving those comments here at Locked On Spurs. We appreciate it, and keep them coming. Everybody else, you'll have to read them here for you guys. Taking time out to write them, we'll take some of my time out to read them and react. Vinny, we appreciate you stopping by here. Again, follow Vinny on X at Vinzetta and the Vinny Basketball Mania cards. I bet that's been a fun project for you to handle, huh, Vinny?
Oh, a lot of fun. I'm into sports collectibles and cards, so I'm like a kid in the candy store. It's like even when the story's done, we're working. I'm like, I want to stay and look around. I can be in there like a teenage girl can shop at the mall all day. I can be in that store all day long. I love it.
Yeah. What's probably one of your best cards you got right now?
Best cards I've got right now. Well, I bought a batch of Wemby's over the last summer. Mm-hmm. I've got them packed away. I'm like a pack rat. I get them out occasionally, but I have to go pull them out to remind myself what I have. But I got some Wemby rookies that I really like right now.
Oh, sure. Nice. Yeah. Follow him on X at Vinzetta. Do that right now. Hey, can I get your quick reaction to that story about that Wemby jersey that he swapped with a little kid and now up for auction. You heard about that?
Yeah, I did. I read about that this morning. Everybody's out to make a buck. Everybody's out to make a buck, right? Here it's like,
oh yeah,
this kid has a keepsake that will be amazing. Was it mom and dad that put it on online?
Parents, yeah, they put it online. Yeah,
I don't know. It's getting negative reaction, but I mean, if it was for the kid, I don't know. I feel like they took a wonderful keepsake out of his hands, but again, everybody's out to make a buck these days. So I don't know.
Yeah. Wemby reacted to that on social media. He just put a sad emoji face to the news. So yeah, it's go ahead.
I just want to add one more thing in reference to Wemby's jersey. Really class move by Wemby and Chris Paul to give JJ Redick their jerseys after the Lakers game. I'm sure everybody knows, but who doesn't know, JJ, Coach Redick's house burned down in the California wildfire. So I thought that was a total class move by CP3 and Wemby. I love seeing that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully all those people in California impacted by the wildfires can recover ASAP and get their lives back on track. So yeah, kudos to CP3 and the alien for doing that as well. And kudos to you, Vinny, for stopping by here at Locked On Spurs. Can't wait to get my signed autograph card of Vinnie Vinzetta. Still waiting for that to happen, Vinny.
I'm waiting for those to get printed in production. So when that happens, you'll be the first to know.
I'm going to get it graded. I'm going to get it graded and everything. Yeah. Get the Vinnie Vinzetta card graded.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Gold plated, everything. All right, Vinny. Thank you. Appreciate it once again. And he is with Ken Spy TV. Follow him on X at VVinzetta. Do that right now. Look forward to that Wemby trading card package he has coming out for you guys. So be ready for that. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black as the Spurs continue their season. And subscribe to Locked On Spurs on iTunes, Spotify, Ken Spy Plus app. Pick a platform where you're there. The Locked On Spurs newsletter is available right now. If you're on YouTube, click on the description. It's in there. Big link. It says subscription. Click on that. Pretty free. Hope you sign up right now. So for Vinnie Vinzetta, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.